Hi everyone, it's Jung here. Today I'm showing you how I created these festive tags using the November 2019 Spellbinders Large Die of the Month called Santa's Helpers. And I also created a reindeer tag using the add-on called Santa's Reindeer. Since I'm going to be creating a tag, I need to fold over my cardstock, and so I just kind of pulled the die over, and so I estimated making a score line at the 3.5-inch mark. And then I'm going to fold it over, and on the die you'll notice that the top, it doesn't cut, and so that allows the cut piece to fold open. I hope that makes sense. So I'm making tags out of my dies, but you can totally just make these Santa and elves just to stick on a card. And if you choose to make a card, you don't have to fold the red cardstock over like I have. You can just leave it one layer. Actually, I've seen several examples on the Team Spellbinders Instagram account if you want to head over there for some inspiration. Okay, so I really like to use up my leftover cardstock pieces, so right now I'm cutting out the arms and Santa's hat. Next, I'll be using light pink cardstock for the face, and then I'm going to be cutting the white pieces, and I'll be cutting like his beard, the fluff for his hat, and I am going to be cutting out his hands essentially in white because I've seen Santas wear white gloves. And then I'm going to be doing the belt buckle from glittered silver cardstock. I am doing the boots and the eyes and the buttons from black cardstock, and then I stuck the little eyepiece kind of on the pink cardstock there as well so I can cut out a nose. Alright, so that's the beard. Those are the top pieces for his boots. That's for his jacket piece. Those are the two eyebrows. These two pieces right here are the hands, the boots, the eyes, and that little almost triangle looking piece is the nose, the face, and the belt buckle. I'm going to be cutting some more of the trim pieces from white cardstock, and then I'm going to cut the belt from black cardstock. At first I was wondering what these other little strips on this belt die was, and finally figured it out when I made the elf. So that's what they are. You'll see that later. Okay, so I'm going to be putting the Santa together with you on camera as much as possible, but unfortunately half of the file corrupted, so I was only able to show you the first half, but you'll kind of get the idea because I will be creating the elf as well. So first thing, I like to put together the little pieces as much as possible before I add them onto a whole. So right now I'm going to be gluing the belt buckle onto the belt. Next, I'm going to be adhering the eyes to the face, and you can see that there's little impressions in the face where you're supposed to stick the eyes, so that makes it super easy. Next, I'm going to be adhering the beard for Santa, and I think it is so cute, especially with that little embossed smile. Okay, next I'm going to add the fluff pieces to Santa's hat. So the brim of his hat and the little fluffy cotton ball looking piece for the end of the hat. So this is where my Santa footage pretty much cuts off, but I'll insert a photo and then you can watch me put together the elf. It is very similar. So again, I'm making another tag for my elf, and I'm going to be using green cardstock. I folded it over just like I did for the Santa. And then I'm going to use light pink cardstock, again like I used for the Santa, and I'm going to die cut the face. Those are the ears and the hands. And for the belt buckle this time, I'll be using gold glitter cardstock. I'm going to be cutting some of the elf's costume pieces from green cardstock, the hat from green cardstock, and then I'm going to cut some pieces from white as well. The little ball that goes onto the end of the cap, and there are a couple of sleeve pieces and also pieces that will make the pants striped. Those dies are on the dies with the belt. If you remember, I was kind of confused about that when I made Santa. Okay, just like Santa, I'm going to cut out boots and eyes from black cardstock. And then I'm going to use red cardstock to cut out the arms, some more pieces for the striped pants, as well as the little, I guess, ponytail holders for my elf, since I'm going to make her a girl. And then for her hair pieces, I'm going to use a light brown cardstock. Okay, so I just need to cut a few more pieces. I need to cut her belt, and I use black for that. I also will need to cut her nose, and I do that from pink cardstock. And then I want to cut some buttons, and I'll use the same gold glitter cardstock that I used for the belt buckle. Okay, so I went ahead and glued on the eyes and the belt buckle. Next, I'm going to work on the hat, and it's a little bit different from the Santa version. There is a round ball for the tip of the hat, and instead of the fluffy fur piece, it's going to be this zigzag pointed trim. I don't know, what would you call this pattern? Anyway, so I forgot that I wanted this to be white, so I went off camera and cut it out of white cardstock real quick, and then I glued it on. Okay, so now I'm going to work on the bottom half of the body. I'm going to attach the black boots, and then I'm going to work on the stripes of the pants, and I'm sure there's a way that you could get them to line up without cutting any excess off, but for some reason I couldn't get them to line up right. Maybe it's because you're only supposed to cut them out once and do it every other color. So if instead of cutting it out of white and red cardstock, I would have just cut it out of, let's say, white cardstock and put it every other, and the green from the legs is supposed to be your second color instead of, red like mine. But I wanted to have red and white stripes, so I end up having to trim off the excess off the sides, but no big deal, very easy to do, and I like the end result of my red and white tights. Then I'm going to add this trim to the top of the boots. Next, I'll add the trim that will be the bottom of the shirt, and then the belt, and then I'm going to attach the arms. Okay, so I just finished gluing on the arms, and I glued the little tabs under the top flap. And then next I'm going to work on the hair for my little elf. I really love these cute little braids. Technically you could just use one braids, or you could use two for pigtails, and I really like how that looks. These little red Pac-Man looking things, I want to say, are supposed to be the hair ties, and so I use those for my braids. And then I'm going to glue on the hair to the face. And you can see if you leave the braids off, it will be a boy elf. I really love how versatile these dies are. Next, I'm going to be gluing on her pointed elf ears and then her cute little hat. Next, I'm going to glue on the sleeve trim, and I cut that out of white cardstock. I really like the contrast, and it kind of ties in the tights with the rest of the outfit. And then these little pieces here are supposed to be for the hands, as if she's, you know, kind of tucking her hands behind her back. Since I'm just using a teeny drop of glue, I'm using my reverse tweezers to kind of hold that in place while it dries. Next, I'm going to add the pigtails to my elf. I think it's so funny how my elf face looks so much like a boy, and then you add on the pigtail braids and instantly she looks like a girl. Do y'all see that too, or is it just me? I'm going to use a copic marker and a light pink color to draw on some rosy cheeks for her. I'm also going to use the colorless blender to kind of blend out the harsh edges. Now there are cheek dies that come with the Santa Helper set. It comes on that same little die cluster with the eyes, but I prefer the look of colored in cheeks, and so feel free to do either way. Now I'm going to glue on the cute little nose. And then I'm going to glue the head onto the body and then the little neck trim piece that you see to my left. And then I will glue on the 2 gold buttons. And here is my elf done. I'm going to make her into a tag. I'm going to punch a hole in the top of her hat with my hole punch. And then I'm going to use some of this red and white twine that I had left over from a Spellbinders Christmas kit. I have a video on that. And there is my little elf tag done. Isn't she super cute? Moving on, I'm going to be making a cute little deer tag as well with the dies from the add-on called Santa's Reindeer, and you see all the dies to the left. I'm also going to be using a few pieces from the large die of the month, such as the body, the arms, and then I'm going to be using the trim pieces that I used on the elf. Okay, so I just went ahead and put everything on my die cutting machine, and I'll show you here in a second. That white would be the face. There's little hooves, and then I used those hand pieces as well as eyes that I cut out from black cardstock. I'm going to make it Rudolph, so the nose is red. I cut out the antler pieces from gold glitter cardstock. I cut out the other piece of the face with brown cardstock and one ear with brown cardstock. And then I cut out some of the trim pieces from red cardstock. I need to cut one more ear. And then I'm going to cut out the arms from brown cardstock, and then the inner piece of the ear from pink, the little tummy area from white. I'm going to cut out one more piece of the inner ear from pink cardstock. And then I'm going to cut out the body. The reason I didn't run it through with the pink ear is because I wanted to go back and forth since it's a double layer. Okay, so here are all my pieces die cut. I'm going to assemble the face first. I'll put the two face pieces together, and you'll see that there's a little embossed indentation of where the eyes should go, so I'll glue on my eyes next. Next, I'll glue on the nose, and again, I decided to make it Rudolph, so the nose is red, but you can easily cut this from black cardstock. I'm going to work on the body next. I'll glue on the white tummy piece. You could tell I have a toddler. I say tummy. And then I will glue on the black hooves. Next, I'm gluing on the antlers, and then I will work on gluing on the ears. I'll glue on the pink inner part of the ear first, and then I will glue them onto the head. So after I'm finished attaching the ears, I'm going to glue on the head to the body, and then I'll add the trim and the hands just like I did for the elf. I thought I would also show you a few snippets of me adding some detail to my projects. Right now I'm using a gray colored pencil from Prismacolor, and I'm just adding a little bit of shadow onto the tags. For example, under the hat there would be a natural shadow, and this one is a warm gray color. And I also use a white gel pen a lot to add some detail. I use it to show some highlights. I like to put them on the eyes for catch lights on the eyes. And then anywhere there would be a shiny surface, like I'm thinking his boots would be shiny, his belt might be shiny. I'm going to be using my colored pencil again to kind of bring out the embossed lines to show that there's two legs. Then I'm going to be using a glitter brush pen to add some sparkle to all the white areas on Santa's suit. And I will be adding details to the elf and the reindeer as well. And here is how my Santa turned out. He is super cute with that beard and that little nose. Again, I made them tags, so on the inside I wrote Merry Christmas from Santa. Here is my elf. I added some white freckles. I added some, I drew on some eyebrows. I thought it would look a little bit more feminine than the die cut eyebrows. I don't know, that could just be me. And then for the little deer, I added some white spots, and that does it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something from my video today. Please like and subscribe. I'll leave a link to my blog with the supplies in the info bar below, as well as the Spellbinders website. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.